Jesus, why are you still talking about me? If I am just a body that lived and died, why does my name still interrupt conversations 2,000 years later? Why does my face still stop you in a grocery store checkout line? Why does my story still divide nations, shape laws, inspire devotion, trigger anger, and sit quietly in the back of your mind when you are alone? Dead men do not ask living questions. Graves do not generate tension. Dust does not provoke identity crises. So why are you still talking about me? If I am only history, why do I still feel present? If I am only religion, why do I still unsettle you outside of church? If I am only myth, why does my name still carry weight in your arguments about morality, forgiveness, guilt, and love? The persistence is the clue. You do not keep repeating what has no psychological function. You do not keep invoking what does not stabilize or threaten your sense of self. So ask honestly, when you say my name, what are you securing? Are you defending goodness? Are you reinforcing guilt? Are you preserving hierarchy? Are you protecting the idea that someone else is holier, purer, or more acceptable to God than you? If I am placed above you as an exception, does that quietly allow you to remain beneath me? If I am untouchable, does that excuse you from transformation? If I am divine and you are merely human, does that keep the distance comfortable? Why are you still talking about me? Because every time you define me, you define yourself. Call me Savior and you confess the need to be saved. Call me Judge and you confess hidden guilt. Call me King and you confess a belief in hierarchy. Call me Rebel and you confess resistance. Call me Illusion and you confess distrust of devotion. The name becomes a mirror. You are not describing me. You are locating yourself in relation to what you think I represent. If I represent innocence, how do you feel standing next to innocence? If I represent unity, how do you feel about separation? If I represent love without condition, what happens to your conditions? That is why the question will not die. It is not about biography. It is about identity. You think you are talking about a man from history, but you are circling the architecture of your own mind. The reason I remain on covers and in arguments is not because I need relevance. It is because the world is still built on the tension I expose. If separation is believed, then I must either confirm it or undo it. If guilt is believed, then I must either carry it or dissolve it. If fear is believed, then I must either threaten or comfort. And so you keep talking. You talk about me in sermons. You argue about me in comment sections. You whisper about me in hospital rooms. You invoke me in courtrooms and on battlefields. You reject me loudly or cling to me quietly. But you rarely ask why the conversation persists. If I were merely a teacher, other teachers would occupy equal space. If I were merely a philosopher, my name would sit among many. If I were merely a prophet, I would be referenced and archived. Yet my name functions differently. It carries existential weight. It presses on identity. It forces a response. That is why it stops you in a grocery store aisle. Not because of nostalgia, not because of art, but because something in you recognizes the tension. If I am what I claim to be, then you are not what you think you are. And if I am not what I claim to be, then the entire structure built around me collapses. Either way, the mind cannot remain neutral. So you keep talking. You keep defining. You keep explaining. You keep defending. Because silence would require looking directly at the question underneath the name. Who are you in relation to what you call sacred? Who are you if innocence is real? Who are you if love is not earned? Who are you if there is no hierarchy between heaven and earth? Why are you still talking about me? Because the conversation is not about me. It is about whether you are willing to let the identity built on separation dissolve. It is about whether the self that stands apart can survive proximity to unity. It is about whether you want a savior above you or truth within you. So the question remains, not as accusation, not as marketing, but as exposure. Why are you still talking about me? And more importantly, what would happen if you stopped hiding behind the answer?